Okay, so I'm going to be reading through some of the curriculum to prove that I've actually read it and giving my comments on it as a teacher might. So I'm going to start with grade 4 social studies, and randomly picked out an outcome here, and I'm reading it. So Jerry Potts, 1840 to 1896, was a leading scout, interpreter, hunter in the Northwest. So immediately I'm just thinking, okay, I'm going to have to Google Jerry Potts. I'm not sure much about him. 1840 to 1896. There's a potential math lesson there in subtracting, so they know how long that period is. But I'm not really sure if they'll understand the context, because I've had students think that dinosaurs exist during that time frame. So I'm probably going to have to show them a timeline. And they should be able to know a little bit about the Northwest, because it looks like in the outcomes above they do address that. But just a point of knowledge, not seeing the significance of it right away, so I'm going to keep reading. So famous black rancher. So looking back at Jerry Potts doesn't say that he's black, so this is just a list of famous people, it sounds like. So he's a black rancher, John Ware, 1845 to 1905, another math lesson. Along with his wife Mildred and family, was a ranching pioneer and folk hero in Alberta. Howdy, I'm John Ware, 2020. I'm guessing that's a book, because 2020 is obviously too far from that other timeline. Don't know if there's any significance to adding that his wife Mildred was with him, just that he had a wife maybe, or maybe she's significant, might have to look that up. John Ware's funeral in 1905 was one of the largest in Alberta history. Okay, so still trying to figure out the kind of big picture there. So those are all under knowledge, so they're just kind of statements of knowledge. So the next one up now is the understandings bit. So it says black rancher John Ware. Sorry, I just had to pause there because it's actually crisscrossed here. I'm not sure if this will show very well, where you've got John Potts here and the rancher there, so I just had to read that again. So we're talking about the black rancher John Ware, born a slave in South Carolina. Okay, I'm going to show the kids where that is. Escaped into Canada. Going to probably have to explain that that's some distance, how far that is. And his wife Mildred was a pioneer with a 160-acre homestead west of Calgary. So don't really know, again, why the wife is being a tag on here. It's nice to have women present in history, but it doesn't really say much about her other than he had a wife. 160 acres, what's that in metric? Because I know we're using both now in this curriculum. Just Googling that. Okay, so that is in meters, which they do understand. That is 647,497. So they don't really understand that, because that's a number they don't learn in grade 4. Don't really know how to show that in a picture to them either to understand that, so I guess I'll just explain it. It's a really big place, but it sounds like they need to know how big. Now going back to Jerry Potts, so his mother was Kainai Cree and his father was Scottish, and he lived and worked with Metis European and local First Nations, earning their trust and respect through his knowledge of the prairies and his skill as a scout, hunter, and soldier. Okay, so it looks like they're both fairly important people of different backgrounds, which is good to see that in here. Does relate to the bigger outcome, that's good. Okay, just moving on here. Investigate, one second, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be highlighting too much under knowledge, because those also just look like a list of facts. Okay, investigate the lives of John Ware and Jerry Potts. How did they contribute to the development of what would be Alberta? Okay, so let's Google this. In fact, let's Wikipedia this. So I don't know a ton about John Ware, so I'm going to Google that. John Ware, I'll start with him. John Ware, cowboy. Okay, going to Wikipedia here. Okay, many of the same facts. facts, but I'm just scanning this page and the kids won't be able to read this. So I'm going to have to read this and make my own resource based on it. Underneath shows his legacy. Maybe I can flip this around. Shows his legacy, and okay, there's a children's book. Okay, so that's where that came from. Something about Dinosaur Provincial Park. Kids love dinosaurs. A stamp. Okay, I'm going to have to read a little bit more into his contributions. Other than that, there were black slaves who came to Canada. So maybe there's some significance in his experience in Canada. I'm not too sure. So let's find this Howdy, I'm John Ware. So just Googling that, Howdy. Okay, so there is a website from a bookstore. Oh, and there's a YouTube video, good. Because when kids research this stuff, the first thing that they're going to do, if I said to them that they independently need to investigate these lives of these people, the first thing they're going to do is probably go to Wikipedia, click on the first link. They might go to here. Hopefully they'll see that the timelines match and go to that one. Canadian Encyclopedia. So there's a few websites they might go to, but again, some of this language like subculture, they're not going to understand. So the next thing kids often do, or sometimes even the first, is go to images. Okay, so they're going to see that he's black, has a beard, cowboy, looks like his wife's in a lot of the pictures. They might scan up here. They're most likely going to go to videos. So looking at this one, great. So that's the Howdy, I'm John Ware book. That's a good one. So I'll probably have to spend some time as a teacher looking at it first before I show that in my classroom. Fairly new and relevant. Hopefully there's some content on injustice in there because of everything that's been happening in the world, and it's new. So that they might click on this if they did this by themselves, or they might click on the next one, which is too long to cover. In fact, after we've looked at the timelines, the people, how big this area was, talked about how it connects to the big picture, there might be enough time for kids to watch this video. And I guess that would consist of their investigation. I'm hoping that this video actually shows what they do. I'm thinking the kids will probably write down a list of facts that came out of it, and that would be our full 30 minutes right there. So that's all you can cover in one class. So then I'm gonna have to do another class on Jerry Potts. So let's do that, because the kids are supposed to Google about him, or sorry, research about him. So Jerry Potts. Okay, so we've got Mental Health Monday. They've come on to videos, let's say first. There's another Jerry Potts here. So it looks like it's a common name, but kids don't always look at, what's exactly going to be in the videos. They often click the first thing. They might think, oh, this is new and relevant. So the idea of time, again, is a little bit blurry for some of them. So let's go to images. Okay, so these look more historic. They're thinking, oh, this probably has to do with it. And they'll probably click on, again, some of the first pictures here. Brings them to Wikipedia. So let's go there. Okay. So Jeremiah Potts. Let's see if they'll be able to read this. This would definitely take more than an entire class to go through this if we read it together. And I don't think they'd be able to read it entirely by themselves, because there's a lot of extra content in here they wouldn't necessarily know about where Scotland is, Montana. I'm not sure if before in the curriculum they've learned about the American Fur Company. A lot of extra content here. Okay, maybe they've scanned it. Maybe they see some of this here. Yeah, this is going to take them a long time to read. And I haven't read it myself, so I'd have to spend a while reading that. I could read it right now. It would take a long time. I'm not going to do that on video. Okay, so now I have to connect both of them to the big picture, why this is important. It's important to show both sides in or a lot of different backgrounds in history. Okay, so this has taken me 10 minutes to read through kind of one clump of specific outcomes. Obviously, I'm not Black or Metis or Indigenous, so this is, I'm trying to figure out, if I was them, what should be stressed in this history. It doesn't really tell me here what I should be emphasizing. So far the lesson to me looks like I read them these list of 5 facts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to have to help them investigate this. And then if they did it by themselves, because I don't want to do all of this for them, they need to do some learning themselves, then yeah, that's just, that would be the lesson. But they'd need a lot of help with trying to figure out how to search online again, so I'd probably have to give a mini lesson associated with that too. So this will probably take minimum 3 classes, so almost an entire week of our social studies. Again, it's taken me about 12 minutes to read over this, make sense as a teacher. I haven't started planning the lesson yet. I haven't read the background material yet, because I want to go over more than just Wikipedia. I need to read all the resources to make sure I'm teaching them correctly, because there won't be textbooks available on this yet. And then I'm going to have to break it down into a lesson plan. I'll have to watch that video, the kids' video on the book about John Ware, which is 15 minutes. So for me to plan this, so I'm looking at minimum 45 minutes to plan this single lesson in social studies. And that would be for a classroom where I'd hope all the kids were at grade level. All the kids were familiar with even Calgary and how far away that is. I would probably have to make a couple lessons, because if kids aren't at grade level, you have to break that down even more. And then, so that's probably going to take me at least 45 minutes to do all that, the very minimum. And I get 90 minutes a week to do my planning and all my marking. So I'm only going to have time to probably plan one more lesson, maybe in another grade level, or not grade level, another topic, maybe English, going through all that. And yeah, I won't get any marking done this week. Hopefully I don't have any parent calls to make either, or appointments to go to with children with like occupational therapy and things like that. So to go through this curriculum would take quite a bit of time, and that's just one lens of me kind of trying to sort through a clump of outcomes as a teacher, to show that I've actually read the curriculum and I'm not just reading it or scanning it, but trying to make sense of it on another level, trying to figure out how I can make this a little bit more challenging, some more critical thinking involved, but it's very prescriptive. It kind of tells me what I need to do, doesn't really give me the choice. And I really don't know how my students who are struggling with reading are going to be able to independently investigate this, unless I provide a whole bunch of resources on top of making my lesson. So that's going to take a lot of time too. I hope that our MLAs and curriculum developers are also considering this and going through it in this level of detail. Thank you for watching.